On our wedding night, after all the guests had left, Sam pointed at the bathtub in the bridal room and smiled. She was bathing here the day before yesterday. I couldn't hold back. So we did it. I was still wearing my wedding dress, and the wedding candies in my hand scattered all over the floor. Sam picked up a red slip dress from the edge of the bathtub and brought it to the tip of his nose to smell it. Now I can understand Bruno. Amanda really does have more flavor than you. Amanda, my half-sister. 3 years ago, she and my ex-boyfriend Bruno had sex in a car, and I caught them red-handed with a flashlight. When all hope had turned to ashes, it was Sam who pulled me out of the abyss and said he would protect me for the rest of my life. But now, on our wedding night, he had betrayed me for the same person. Chapter 1. Why? I heard my own voice, dry and faint. Sam placed the dress back on the edge of the bathtub and slowly unfastened his cufflinks. When you asked Bruno, how did he answer you? My whole body stiffened. Oh, he probably never gave you an answer either. Sam continued on his own, his tone extremely casual, because this kind of question doesn't need an answer. He took 2 steps closer to me. I stepped back, my heel landing on the wedding candies scattered across the floor, and I stumbled. Sam did not support me. He lowered his head and glanced at the broken candy wrappers, the corner of his mouth moving slightly. See? This is exactly how you are. Your emotions never fluctuate. Back then, Bruno probably chose Amanda because he found you dull too. I dug my nails into my palm and forced myself to lift my head. Are you speaking up for Bruno? I'm just stating facts. Selena. He clearly called out my full name. Not exciting enough? My lips trembled, and my voice shook. So you slept with her, in our bridal room, because I'm not exciting enough? Sam tilted his head, perfectly composed. There has to be a reason. You can pick one yourself if you like. It was harsher than cursing at me. He was saying that the reason didn't matter. There was only one conclusion. I was not good enough. Do you know what's interesting? He suddenly laughed, pointing toward the bathroom with his finger. Before Amanda left, she even said the color scheme of the bathroom tiles looked nice. She wrapped herself in your bath towel and used your shampoo. She used everything of yours. Sam interrupted me, his tone without the slightest fluctuation. Your ex-boyfriend was taken by her. Your husband has now gone to her too. And even your bathroom wasn't spared. She has always been using your things. Are you only realizing that now? I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Suddenly, my phone lit up on the dressing table. A voice message popped up on the screen. Sender, Amanda. Sam walked over, without avoiding me. He directly played it out loud. Brother-in-law, her voice was soft, sticky, and coquettish, with a deliberately drawn-out ending. Is my sister asleep? Say happy wedding to her for me. The voice message was only 8 seconds long, yet it sent waves of sharp pain through me. She called him brother-in-law. She used that supposedly faultless title to conceal her deliberate intent to hurt me. Sam put away the phone, his expression not shifting at all. He looked at me. I am only notifying you unilaterally to recognize your own situation clearly. He walked toward the door. His hand rested on the doorknob. I saw him gripping the doorknob so hard that the veins on the back of his hand bulged. But he did not look back. There's a family banquet tomorrow. You are my wife, so you still have to attend what you should attend. The door closed. The footsteps in the hallway gradually moved away, then suddenly stopped at the corner. I clutched the hem of my dress and held my breath. About a minute passed. Only then did the footsteps truly disappear. I collapsed to the floor. My wedding dress spread all over the ground, and the broken wedding candies embedded into my palm. When the sky began to grow faintly bright, there was an extra blanket over my shoulders. It was the gray-blue cashmere blanket he always kept in his car. The heating had been broken all night. I didn't know when he had come back. I also didn't know whether he had seen me curled up on the floor when he entered. I gripped the corner of the blanket and let out a dry, suppressed breath. Sam, you betrayed me. Why did you still cover me with a blanket? Chapter 2. 3 years ago, I stood outside the guardrail by the river, and the only thing left in my mind was the sight of those 2 tangled figures behind the car window. The second my flashlight shone inside, Amanda smiled at me, with the calm smugness of someone who had successfully taken what she wanted. I didn't remember how I had walked to the riverside. I only remembered that the railing was icy cold. The river water was black, and the sound of the water was loud, as if it could drown out every thought. Sam's voice came from behind me. If you want to jump, I won't stop you. But it's 4 degrees tonight. At least put on something warm before you decide. He stood 2 steps away, took off his suit jacket, placed it on the railing, and pushed it toward me before taking a step back. Whether you wear it or not is up to you. Just decide properly how you want tonight's misery to end. I turned back to look at him, a completely unfamiliar man. His shirt collar was open, his hair was blown messy by the river wind, and his face held no expression. Who are you? Someone passing by. Does someone passing by usually meddle this much? If you want to keep staying here and letting the wind blow at you, go ahead. It only makes me feel cold. My fingers were so frozen that I could barely grip the steel pipe. The wind came in waves, pouring over me. My dress clung to my legs, stiff and cold. I didn't know how long passed before I put on that jacket. It was very large, and the sleeves extended far past my hands. The scent of cedarwood and tobacco mixed together, bringing a trace of warmth. I didn't jump. I crouched back down on the inner side of the railing and cried for 40 minutes. Sam stood 2 steps away the entire time, a cigarette he hadn't lit held between his lips. Without saying a single word, the wind lifted and tossed his shirt, but he didn't pull it closed. At 3 in the morning, I finally stopped crying. He took down the cigarette and threw it into the trash can. Let's go. I'll take you to eat a bowl of wontons. After crying, you should be hungry. He said you should be hungry as a statement, as if it were perfectly natural. Later, I gradually came to understand that Sam was exactly this kind of person. He would directly do the things that showed he cared. After we got together, all his kindness was silent. When driving, he would wait until I fastened my seatbelt before shifting gears. When ordering takeout, he would pick all the scallions out of my portion. How did you know I don't eat scallions? You frown every time you see scallions. Then why did you pick them out for me? Just happened to. It was always just happened to. Once, I worked overtime too late and didn't answer his call. He drove 40 minutes to wait for me downstairs at my company. When I came downstairs, I saw him leaning against the car, the line of his lips drawn tight. He was silent the whole way. His fingers gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles protruding. Only after a long while did he speak. Next time, keep your phone on for me. You can hang up my call directly, but don't turn it off. Why? The sound of the engine covered his voice. I leaned closer before I finally heard 3 words. I'll overthink. At that moment, I felt that he valued me very much. He didn't know how to say it, but he handed his clumsy caution to me. Once, I mentioned Amanda. My dad had another woman outside, and later she was born. The movement of his hands paused. Same father, different mother? After a long silence, he asked a question I didn't pay attention to at the time. Then do you hate her? Not really. After all, she only came into this world because of what happened in the previous generation. He lowered his head, and I didn't know what he was thinking. The proposal happened in my living room, in a very simple and ordinary setting. He placed the ring box on the coffee table and pushed it toward me. Marry me. From now on, no one will be able to hurt you, including Amanda. My tears kept falling. He reached out, his thumb pressing against the corner of my eye. He paused for 1 second, his expression calm, his gaze deep. Stop crying. From now on, I'll make up for every tear. I nodded through my tears and believed every word he said. The blanket had long since gone completely cold. I sat on the floor of the bridal room and came back to my senses, gripping that ring in my hand as the sky outside the window brightened fully. He said no one would be able to hurt me, but you never told me that the person who would hurt me would be you. Chapter 3. On the 3rd day after the wedding, there was a family banquet. I had just stepped into the banquet hall when a soft, affected voice slipped out from the crowd. Sister! Amanda was wearing a red dress in the same color palette as the wedding. She held the arm of a middle-aged man and walked toward me with a bright smile. Sister, long time no see. You look so well. Her gaze stopped on my face for 1 second, then passed over my shoulder and landed on Sam, who was holding a wine glass not far away. I knew that look far too well. 3 years ago, that was how she had looked at Bruno. Someone beside her was about to call her, but but she smiled and stopped them. Just call me Miss Amanda. After all, my relationship with my sister is rather special. She bit down very lightly on the word special. The people present exchanged several meaningful looks. I held my wine glass without showing any emotion. Sister doesn't welcome me? She tilted her head. You came. Uncle invited me. He said family should visit each other more often. She really dared to call us family. I didn't respond. I turned to leave, but behind me came the sound of wine spilling. Cold red wine poured down from my shoulder, soaking through my ivory white cheapao. Oh no! Amanda covered her mouth, her eyes instantly turning red. Sister, I'm sorry. I didn't hold it steady. Everyone's gaze gathered around us. I lowered my head and looked at the wine stain spreading across my chest. The red was dazzling, like a deliberate provocation. My body moved faster than my mind. I grabbed Amanda's wrist. She screamed, loud enough for the entire hall to hear. Sister, you're hurting me. The banquet hall fell silent. Sam came over. He walked out from the crowd, his steps unhurried. When he reached us, he lowered his head and looked at Amanda's wrist, reddened from my grip. I waited. I waited for him to say one sentence. Just one would be enough. He raised his head and looked at me. Let go. Those two words were extremely cold. Apologize to her. I froze. Sam. She spilled it on me on purpose. I don't care who started it. His expression was calm. I only care that the way you look right now is making me lose face. I was the one who had been splashed with wine, yet I was also the one making him lose face. Amanda stood beside him with her head lowered, her shoulders trembling slightly, but the area beneath her eyes was clean and dry, without a single tear. I could see it clearly, but Sam did not look. He lowered his head and leaned close to my ear. To others, it looked as if the newlywed husband was comforting his wife. Only I heard that sentence. Do you think grabbing her will make me stay? You should be used to this by now. As if this were a rule I should have accepted long ago. My fingers released Amanda's wrist. I lifted my head and looked at him. Tears blurred my entire face, but the corners of my mouth were desperately pulling upward. You are right. I should indeed be used to it. I handed him my wine glass, then turned and gave Amanda a 90-degree bow. The entire hall fell deathly silent. Amanda froze for an instant. Sam's expression changed. She had not expected me to actually apologize, and neither had he. He thought I would lose control and break down just like 3 years ago. He was even waiting for that reaction, waiting for me to collapse so that he could step in and take over the situation. But I did not. I straightened, smiled at him, turned around, and left. My steps were steady, and my back did not sway at all. That late night, I locked the bedroom door. At 2 in the morning, there was a faint sound outside the door. I opened it. A cup of warm milk had been placed on the floor, with a note pressed beside it. The handwriting was clear and neat. Drink this before sleeping. Your stomach isn't good, so don't leave it empty. I picked up the cup of milk, walked to the sink, and poured it away little by little. The white liquid spiraled into the drain, cleanly and decisively. Sam, I won't accept your kindness anymore. Chapter 4. Are you threatening me? Sam stared at the property agreement on the table. I shook my head. Sam, I've already passed the stage of threatening you. On the 5th day after the wedding, I no longer cried, stopped questioning him, and gave up waiting for him to come home. I began dealing with my own things. I packed up the old photos and gifts that carried memories, along with the ring box from the proposal, and threw them away. When Sam opened the trash can, his hand paused. He said nothing, took the ring box out, and put it into the study drawer. I stood at the corner of the hallway and saw the whole thing. When he locked the drawer, his fingers moved very slowly, as if he were confirming whether the things inside were safe. The agreement is very simple. What's yours stays yours. I don't want anything. I pushed the pen in front of him. Just sign it. He did not take the pen. Why? No reason. Selena, are you signing or not? He picked up the pen and held it for a few seconds, then put it down again. I won't sign it. Think it through. Then come find me. When he got up to leave, I called out to him, Sam. He stopped but did not turn around. I smiled at his back, my smile serious and calm, because I had already decided to let go. My gaze had become relieved. He turned half his face slightly. What are you smiling at? Nothing. I just wanted to look at you once. His Adam's apple moved. His lips parted slightly, as if he wanted to say something but stopped himself. But I had already turned and entered the room. At 4 in the morning, a lowered phone conversation came from the study next door. Help me look into who she's been seeing recently. A pause. I just don't like things getting out of control. The same fear, wrapped in a completely different excuse. Unfortunately, this time, I understood, and I no longer cared. On the 7th day, I placed that letter under the pillow. The envelope was not fully sealed. Taking my passport and a backpack, I drove to the seaside. The car stopped by the viewing platform. My phone was turned off and placed on the passenger seat. My coat was folded neatly and placed on the guardrail. Last was the wedding ring. I took it off and placed it inside the coat pocket. The sound of the tide was loud, and the sky was gray and hazy. Those things laid out on the guardrail formed the trace of a person leaving. Then I got into another car. Lily had been waiting for me for 20 minutes at a fork in the road 2 kilometers away. Selena, are you sure? She started the car and glanced at me. Once you leave like this, let's go. He'll think you're dead. Let him think that. Aren't you afraid he'll really? Lily, on our wedding night, he told me he had slept with my sister in our bridal room. At the banquet, he made me bow to her in front of everyone. Whether he's afraid or not is his business. I only care about my own life. She said nothing more, and the car drove toward the airport. I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. Without looking back, Sam received the call at 11 that night. It was said that his phone rang 36 times without him answering. The 37th call was from his secretary. No, boss, something happened to Madam. He thought it was a small matter and was even clinking glasses with a client. Then he heard the clues about the coat by the sea and the fact that no one had been found. The glass shattered. His fingers suddenly lost strength, causing the glass to slip and fall. When he arrived at the scene, it was 1 in the morning. The search and rescue team had set up a cordon along the shore. A police officer came over holding a transparent evidence bag. Inside was my wedding ring. Sam took the bag. He stared at the ring for a long time. His hands did not tremble, and there was no expression on his face. Someone beside him said softly, "Boss, my condolences." He did not respond. He crouched down, then sat on a reef. The waves came one after another, soaking the cuffs of his pants and spreading along his leather shoes to the hem of his gray-blue overcoat. He did not move at all. He opened the evidence bag, took out the ring, and clenched it in his palm. The sea wind at dawn covered his voice. No one heard what he said. If someone had been close enough, they would have heard him repeating the same sentence over and over. You said you wouldn't turn off your phone. Chapter 5. The news says the search and rescue has stopped. Official conclusion, missing. No body found. Lily handed me her phone. On the screen was a brief local news report. I leaned by the window of the rental apartment, looked at it for 2 seconds, then swiped it away. The 14th day after I disappeared, in a brand new city, I changed my phone number, rented a 1-bedroom apartment whose window looked out onto roadside trees, and it resembled no street in City A. What about him? Are you sure you want to hear it? I nodded. Lily sighed. News from Noah. Sam stayed by the sea alone for 3 days. After the search and rescue team withdrew, he was still there. In the end, his family had to drag him back by force. I said nothing. Selena. She lowered her voice. He's not eating. Noah said he's lost more than 10 pounds. He isn't handling company matters either. Every day, he shuts himself inside your bridal room. Bridal room. That bridal room with the bathtub, still carrying the scent of Amanda's shampoo. Where he shuts himself in is his business. Do you really not feel bad for him? I went to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. Lily, on our wedding night, he told me he did it with my sister in that room. Then, at the banquet, he made me bow and apologize to her in front of more than 100 people. You're asking me if I feel bad for him? That Selena who waited for him in a wedding dress is already dead inside. The person in front of you doesn't hurt. She stopped talking. On the 18th day, I found a freelance translation job, paid by the piece. During the day, I translated documents. At night, I worked as a cashier at the convenience store on the corner. No one knew who I was. My coworkers called me Little S. I usually didn't talk much, and I worked efficiently. Lily continued sending me updates. Sam has started investigating. The pen in my hand paused. Investigating what? Your phone calls and bank transactions. He found something wrong in the records before you disappeared. On the 5th day, you transferred me a sum of money. I laughed. He's always been pretty smart. Selena. Sooner or later he'll trace it to me. Let him. By the time he finds you, I'll already have finished what I need to do. What exactly are you planning? Do me a favor. Say it. Go to the home Sam and I shared. Find the smart security main unit in the entryway. The password is my birthday. Copy all the surveillance footage from July 15th to 17th. Lily froze. Your house has surveillance. Sam installed it. He said it was for safety. He probably forgot that the administrator account for that system is mine. The other end of the line fell silent for 3 seconds. Selena, you'd already made plans long ago. Do you still hate him? I thought about it. Did I hate him? On our wedding night, when he picked up Amanda's dress and brought it to his nose to smell it. I hated him. At the banquet, when he made me apologize. I hated him so much I wanted to splash wine in his face. At 2 in the morning, when he left that cup of milk outside the door. At that moment, I didn't hate him. There was only one word in my mind. Tired. The exhaustion born from accumulated disappointment. I don't hate him anymore. I heard myself answer calmly. I just don't want to be the person he thinks he can't keep anymore. You didn't make him unable to keep you. I answered directly. I know, but he doesn't. He probably won't know for the rest of his life that he was the one who pushed me away with his own hands. What about Amanda? I smiled. This smile was different from before. It was faint, carrying a little warmth. Amanda? She'll receive the price she deserves. Chapter 6. Boss. There's a letter under the pillow. When Noah's call reached Sam, he had already been sitting on the floor of the bridal room for 4 days, according to what was later relayed. After Sam received the call, he stood up from the floor and lifted the pillow. A white envelope. The seal had not been fully closed, and there was no name written on it. Inside were only a few lines. Sam, you said you were afraid I would turn off my phone, but you forgot that the first person to hang up was you. I merely decided to leave. These past few years, I returned them to you, and also to myself. Selena. Noah said that Sam's first reaction after reading the letter was to crumple the paper into a ball and throw it onto the floor. Then he crouched down, picked it up again, unfolded it little by little, and smoothed it flat with his palm. He pressed it flat for a very long time. When I heard Lily recount all this, I was opening parcels behind the convenience store. He knows you're not dead now, but his state is even worse. Knowing I'm alive made him worse instead? Noah said that when he thought you'd had an accident, he could still stay there without eating or drinking, but now that he knows you left by yourself, he's started smashing things instead. My hand paused as I tore open the cardboard box. To Sam, death and leaving were 2 different things. Facing an accident, he could play the role of a husband who had lost his wife within grief, but leaving meant that I had actively chosen not to want him. That touched the fear deep inside him. His mother's case had also been a kind of leaving. That was what I found in his study drawer on the 6th day before I left. His drawer was locked. The key was in the second compartment of the pen holder, and he never changed its place. At the bottom was an old photograph. In the photo, a woman in a light blue dress stood beneath a magnolia tree. Her brows and eyes looked very much like Sam's. On the back of the photo was a line of pencil writing, which looked like it had been written by a child. Mom. Pressed beside it was a yellowed newspaper clipping. Wife of a certain entrepreneur falls to her death. Insider reveals the deceased had long been pressured by husband's mistress before her death. Date, the year Sam was 8. Under the clipping was that ring box. The one I had thrown away. The one he had picked back up, placed beside his mother's photograph. Amanda came to Sam's door on the 3rd day after he received the letter. She wore a black dress and went to Sam's house under the excuse of mourning. As soon as she entered, she cried for a while, saying she was very sad that her sister was gone. And then? Sam had the servants stop her in the living room. He came down from upstairs himself, stood at the staircase, and asked one question. What? When was the first time you added me on WeChat? I froze for a moment. Amanda said they met at the engagement banquet half a year ago, but Sam pulled up the chat history. The first message was 10 months ago, 4 months earlier than the engagement. What did she say? She couldn't answer. In the end, Sam told her to get lost. His exact words were, "Don't call me brother-in-law again. You don't deserve to." I put down the phone and stared at the ceiling. Why didn't you say those 3 words earlier? Sam? He started investigating Amanda. Lily's voice came through the receiver. Selena, what exactly are you planning to do? I silently counted down 3 seconds in my heart. Did you copy the footage? I did. Send it to me. Chapter 7. You've lost weight. The cold wind of the 12th lunar month howled. I had just pulled down the rolling shutter of the convenience store when I heard those words come from beneath the street lamp across the road. Sam stood in the shadows, his dark overcoat unbuttoned, blown open by the wind. His face had grown thinner, and his cheekbones protruded noticeably. I locked the door, turned around, and walked in the opposite direction. Selena. I did not stop. Footsteps followed behind me, neither hurried nor slow. You don't have to look at me, but let me say 2 things. The things you said on our wedding night are enough for me to listen to for a lifetime. The footsteps paused for a moment, then followed again. Then at least tell me whether you're doing well. I stopped and turned back to look at him. The light from the street lamp stretched his shadow very long. Sam, you slept with my sister, made me bow to her in public, said I couldn't keep people by my side, and now you come here asking whether I'm doing well? He did not avoid my gaze. His eyes looked straight at me, and the light in them dimmed. I know I'm not qualified. You truly aren't, but I still want to ask. The wind poured back and forth between us. I'm doing very well, better than when I was with you. His lips pressed together, and his Adam's apple rolled. Selena, don't call me that. Selena, you're working at a convenience store? Are you short of money? I can. What I once longed for, you couldn't give me. Everything I have now no longer needs your interference. He stood frozen in place. I turned and continued walking. Selena, he called again. Stop following me. I still have work tomorrow morning. I investigated Amanda. This time, I stopped. He walked around to stand in front of me, his breath turning into white mist in the cold air. She came prepared. She started approaching me 4 months in advance, before you and I got engaged. I know. He froze. You know? 3 years ago, when she slept with Bruno. I already knew what kind of person she was. Sam, I lowered my head and adjusted my scarf. What I didn't know was that even though you clearly understood her nature, you still made the same choice. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I looked into your mother's matter. Sam's expression changed instantly. A layer of disguise was torn open, revealing pain hidden extremely deep. Who told you? Your study drawer. He closed his eyes for a moment. Your mother was driven to death by the woman your father brought home. I said each word clearly. And then you grew up and brought another woman into your wife's bathtub. Sam, you became the person you hated most. The night wind poured over us. He stood under the street lamp, motionless. His eyes reddened, but no tears fell. The line of his lips tightened. After a long time, he spoke, his voice very low and hoarse. I know. When did you know? The day you left. Too late. After saying those 2 words, I walked around him and continued forward. No footsteps followed from behind. After walking more than 10 steps, I heard a muffled sound. I turned back. Sam had knelt beneath the street lamp. Both knees hit the ground heavily, as if he had lost all support. His forehead hung low, and both hands braced against the ground. The wind was strong, and his voice came over in broken fragments. Selena, what do I have to do for you to come back? I looked at him and did not walk back. You can't do anything, because I already can't go back. Chapter 8. Sister, you're finally willing to see me. Amanda sat in a booth at the cafe, her makeup exquisite, a cup of untouched matcha latte by her hand. I sat across from her. This was the meeting I had asked Lily to arrange. Sister, you've lost so much weight. She tilted her head, her gaze sliding over my face. You must have suffered a lot out there, right? I heard you're working at a convenience store. A rich young lady suffering like this. Amanda. She stopped, Last week, you went to 3 media outlets. I placed my phone on the table, screen facing upward. You told them that I was mentally unstable, that I faked my disappearance to gain sympathy, and that I assaulted you at the family banquet. The corner of Amanda's mouth twitched slightly, but she quickly returned to that sweet smile. Sister, how could I? I was only worried about you. You also told them you were pregnant with Sam's child. Her smile froze. Only for an instant. She regained control of her expression. I was originally planning to tell you later. She lowered her head, placed her hand over her lower abdomen, and her voice became fragile. I know the timing isn't right, but the child has already come. Where's the test report? What? If you're pregnant, you should have gone to the hospital for a checkup. Show it to me. Amanda's eyes narrowed slightly. Sister, are you doubting me? I'm giving you a chance. She stared at me for 3 seconds, then suddenly laughed. Her smile revealed a hard, genuine coldness. Selena, how long do you think you can keep pretending? She leaned back against the chair and crossed her legs. You've been like this since we were little, thinking that as long as you're the victim, you're standing on moral high ground. I slept with Bruno, and I slept with Sam too. So what? You're asking so what? Yes. So what? She propped up her chin. What do you have that I can't take away? What difference does it make whether Dad's inheritance goes to you or me? Any man you can keep. I can make mine with one crook of my finger. Selena, you're just a keeper, waiting at any moment for me to come take things away. I looked at her. This was the first time Amanda had stripped away all disguise in front of me. Arrogant and no longer apologetic. Only naked malice and more than 10 years of accumulated jealousy remained. Are you done? I'm done. What can you do to me? I took a USB drive from my bag and placed it on the table. From July 15th to 17th. The smart security system at Sam's house. The footage is clear and has timestamps. Amanda's smile disappeared little by little. It recorded the process of you entering without permission and using the bathroom, including your deliberate act of leaving your red dress there as a declaration of ownership. You were deliberately provoking me. Her face turned pale. You said you were pregnant with Sam's child, but the footage from the night of July 16th shows that you sat on the living room sofa for 40 minutes, while Sam sat in the chair across from you. He didn't touch you the entire time. You came that day hoping something would happen again, but he rejected you. Amanda, your child doesn't exist. Her cup slammed onto the table with a bang, and matcha splashed all over her skirt. Selena, don't think a few lousy videos are enough for you to overturn everything. Her voice became sharp and piercing from anger. I stood up. I've already sent this footage to the wives of the other gentlemen you visited, along with those little personal mementos you left in other people's homes each time. Every time you destroy a relationship, you leave behind a personal item to declare ownership. Sister, you can't do this to me. Amanda, I looked at her one last time. You only use these methods to prove that once I'm no longer your point of comparison, you can't find your own value. I pushed open the cafe door and walked into the sunlight outside. Selena, come back here. Selena. Her voice was cut off by the glass door. Chapter 9. The day my mother died. I was doing homework in the living room. Sam said this while sitting in the stairwell of my rental apartment. He had come uninvited. When Lily opened the door, she was startled. He was even thinner than last time. His eye sockets sunken, stubble covering his jawline. I did not let him into the apartment, so he sat on the stairs. I stood inside the door, a half-open door between us. That woman had just come that afternoon, my father's mistress. He lowered his head, his tone calmly recounting the past. She came to force my mother to give up her place. My mother listened to her very calmly, and then that woman left. My mother said to me, "Go to bed early after you finish your homework." His voice paused. Then she went up to the rooftop. The voice-activated light in the corridor went out. In the darkness, only his breathing remained. More than 10 seconds later, the light came on again. His eyes were very red, but dry. My father rushed back after receiving the call. I thought he would break down. Guess what the first thing he did was? I did not answer. He called that woman and told her not to panic. The light went out again. He did not move, sitting in the darkness as he continued. From that day on, I understood one thing. Loving someone means bearing the risk of losing them, sooner or later. She will leave, rather than waiting for someone else to take her away. It is better for me to push her away first. That way, at least I wouldn't end up like my mother, only discovering at the very end that the thing she had guarded all her life had never belonged to her. The light came on. I could see his face clearly, a 30-year-old heir to a multinational group, sitting on the cement stairs of a rental apartment, looked especially fragile and helpless. So you betrayed me first. I thought if I destroyed it first, it wouldn't hurt as much. Did it hurt? He looked up at me, more than the day my mother left. I leaned against the doorframe and did not speak for a long time. Sam, I understand you. His eyes lit up slightly. But understanding does not mean forgiveness. His lips moved. I only hope you can come back to my side. Come back where? Back to my side. Any condition is fine. You think the problem lies in conditions? Then where does it lie? In you. He froze. You thought that by pushing me away, you wouldn't get hurt. But did you ever think about me? My voice was very calm. Your mother died because of a third party. And it made you hate that kind of thing to this day. Then you did the exact same thing. You are not afraid of being abandoned. Sam, you don't believe that you are worthy of being loved, so you keep testing and hurting the people who love you until you completely drive them away, using that to prove your preset belief that you don't deserve affection. The corridor fell completely silent. The light went out and did not come back on for a long time. In the darkness, there came an extremely faint breath. Sam was restraining his breathing. You're right. His voice came from deep within the darkness, carrying heavy repression. I'm not worthy of being loved. You are, I said. The light came on. He suddenly lifted his head. But not by me. I handed the craft paper envelope through the gap in the door. He lowered his head and looked. Divorce agreement. Sign it. Sam, let me go. And let yourself go too. Chapter 10. Can't you give me one more chance? Sam held the pen. Sitting in the stairwell, the divorce agreement was spread across his knees. He stared at the signature line on the final page without writing a single word. Just one. He looked up at me. I'll solve every hidden danger and make up for every mistake. You will do many things. I crouched down and looked at him at eye level. But you will never be able to stop being afraid. His lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. Even if you do everything you said. One day when you wake up in the middle of the night, you will still stare at me and think, will she leave one day too? Then you will start testing, start confirming, and destroy us all over again, because you would rather destroy something with your own hands than lose it passively. Sam closed his eyes. A long time later, he opened them again. Some of the red veins in his eyes had faded, but they had become hollow and lifeless. If I promise. Sam, you used the word promise once 3 years ago. I've already investigated Amanda's matter clearly. She was not pregnant. Everything was a lie. I know. It was very clear in the surveillance footage. He paused. When did you? The day you installed the security system. I set administrator privileges for myself. You thought I didn't know anything. Sam, you never truly understood me. He fell silent. I stood up and took one step back. The day you proposed, you said you would make up for all my future tears. His whole body shook. Calculate it properly, from our wedding night until today. How many tears do you owe me? He did not answer. He lowered his head and uncapped the pen. His hand was trembling. The pen tip rubbed against the paper, making a dry scratching sound. After signing the final stroke, he placed the pen on top of the agreement, closed the envelope, and handed it back to me. I took it. Thank you. Where are you going? His voice was very controlled, the ending rising slightly, hiding a certain hope. Back to work. I have an early shift tomorrow. And after that? We'll talk about the future when it comes. I put the envelope into my bag and zipped it shut. Just as I was about to turn around, he suddenly spoke. Selena, that blanket, are you still using it? I paused. It was the gray-blue cashmere blanket he had once covered me with. I had not taken it with me when I left, but I had not thrown it away either. I'm using it. I did not know why I told the truth. Maybe it was because I saw his trembling hand when he signed. Maybe it was because the corridor light had gone out again. In the darkness, He laughed softly. Just once. A light sigh carrying relief. That's good. The light came on. He was still sitting on the stairs, showing no intention of getting up. I walked down the stairs, each step steady. At the corner, I paused for half a second. I did not look back. I pushed open the stairwell door. Outside was an early spring night. The wind was still cool, but there was already a slight loosened dampness in the air. The door slowly closed behind me. From behind the door came Sam's final voice. His voice was low, filled with self-reproach and despair. Selena, it was me who pushed you away.